Angels Care Home Health, serving Hayes and the surrounding areas, is a Medicare-certified home health agency providing quality skilled nursing and restorative therapy services to patients in their homes.
I love the nurses that come and see me.
Angels Care is there to help 24 hours a day, and all services are covered 100% by Medicare for patients who are eligible.
Since I learned about Angel Care, I would recommend them to anybody.
Angels Care Home Health. We serve patients.
Hello and welcome again to our Community Connection from Eagle Community Television. Thanks for watching. Thanks as always to the producer of our series, the editor, and the guy behind the camera, Jeff Durall. We're at the Ellis County Health Department EMS offices with Ellis County Health Services Manager, Kerry McCue. Got to start putting all that together now, yeah. Kerry. Director of the Ellis County Health Department and EMS Director as well, now known as the Ellis County Health Services. Let's start, if we could, about the settling in process. How's it going, Kerry?
Well, I'm certainly busier than I was a month ago. You know, I'm trying to find that fit in providing enough time to both agencies and spending adequate time in both departments.
And commuting between the two, right? Yeah. Tell me the idea behind the consolidation of the duties, if you would.
Well, it coincidentally coincided with retirement of the previous health administrator, Butch Slyer. And those are big shoes to fill. Butch was there for 20 plus years and did a great job. And he retired in December. Well, at budget time, as you know, the economic environment in Ellis County has been challenged in the last couple of years with the reduction in oil revenues and those types of things. So the discussion entailed about how to save money, and I was approached by the county administrator about possibly administering both departments, and I told them I would give it a whirl and see what happened. So I think it's somewhere around $70,000 to $75,000 that we've been able to reduce the health department budget. Now that included both Butch's retirement, and then we also had a retirement of a long-term office coordinator, Linda Arnold. So we've lost, in those two, we've lost a lot of history, a lot of knowledge, and two very good people.
And moved the learning curve up considerably.
Oh,
right?
yes, yes.
It was like that, I believe, and you said now it's about like that, huh?
Yeah, it's completely a different field than what I'm used to. So.
Well, and Kerry, we normally would think, oh yeah, this is a natural fit because you've got emergency services and you've got health department. They seem to be a natural fit, but actually they work at different areas, don't they?
Well, they do. Some of them in the past couple of years, there has been some crossing, but you know, traditionally EMS has been a response agency, an emergency care agency, whereas the health department has traditionally been a surveillance, preventative type environment. And there are some crossings of paths here recently with the advent of some of the new community paramedicine and integrated health services and things like that. We haven't got there yet. We're talking with some of the Kansas and stroke and STEMI folks about possibly looking at some of that stuff and filling some voids in the community that we may have, and that's what it's designed to do, is to fill some voids that might be in the community's healthcare system.
So this is going to be an ongoing discussion then, probably.
Yeah, and we're talking 3 to 5 years before anything like that can probably happen.
You've been EMS director now for about 27 years.
Yes.
Health department director for about 27 days.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
So tell me about the responsibilities. Give us an overview of emergency medical services.
Well, our role is pre-hospital care, to treat in an emergency situation the injured and ill in Ellis County. We cover all 900 square miles, and we do that with 3 stations and 4 24-hour-a-day crews. So they're there 365 days, and we have 8 people staffed in those 3 stations and respond to a little over 3,000 calls a year, requests for services, and they do a great job. We have an average response time in the county of about 4.25 minutes, and that's in all 900 square miles.
That's pretty incredible.
Well, it's pretty good, and we do that by what's called system status management, and you'll see our vehicles on 40 highway a lot, out by the airport. If the 2 Hayes units are out, we'll move the Victoria unit over. If the Victoria unit goes out, we'll move a Hayes unit over into Victoria to reduce response times into those areas where the populations are.
Now, we are in a large facility here at the new location on 22nd. What's this room designed for?
This is a multi-purpose room. It's designed for training. As you probably remember, in our old facility, both in our facility and the rural fire facility, there was just no room for adequate training. This is a multi-purpose room. We just finished a paramedic program in December that they actually held the program here. We do community CPR classes. Rural Fire does training and education. This also doubles as our emergency operations center, should we ever need it. Behind Jeff are some radios, and we can talk to anybody in the county from this room. It allows us to function in those critical situations.
Tell me a little bit about the staff. This transition period, you're going to have to rely on your staff to a great extent, aren't you?
Very much so in both agencies. First of all, in the EMS side, we have 27 full-time employees, counting myself. We have 24 technical staff that are on the streets 24 hours a day. We have 1 office manager that does all of our billing, all of our accounts receivable. She's got her hands full. And then we have what has traditionally been the training director. We have changed her title to assistant director to absorb some of the responsibilities that I'm doing. So the office manager, the assistant director, and even the shift supervisors are probably going to get some duties delegated from me that I've traditionally done that I'm going to have to delegate out to allow me time to do both agencies. We're in that process right now. In the health department, we have 5 folks, 5 ladies, 3 on the clerical side, and 2 clinical nurses. And we basically, because we lost 2 positions, everybody in that department got additional responsibilities. We did move one of the nurses to a assistant or a chief nurse that will be doing some of the assistant director type things, filling in in my absence and those kinds of things.
Is it kind of a situation where people have just stepped up to accept those responsibilities to try to keep the level of service the same?
Very much so. You know, the staff have gone above and beyond the call. They recognize that we're in this to try and serve the citizens of the county. So whichever department it is.
Talk about a wish list that you might have for any equipment items such as that on the, let's start at the EMS side first, Kerry.
Well, currently we are looking for some cardiac monitors. Our cardiac monitors are 10 to 15 years old.
Technology's advanced considerably from there, I would assume.
Very much so. We are looking for some grants to purchase those. We currently have 8 on the trucks, and those are about $35,000 a piece. And so we're looking for some grant funding that we can possibly purchase those through some funds that might be in the community or foundations that might be looking to fund some worthwhile projects. We'd certainly be interested in talking to those organizations.
And those would go on the trucks, and you need, what, 8 of them then?
We need 8 cardiac monitors.
Improved technology will improve the work that the staff can do.
Exactly.
When they
and when you're talking about cardiac patients and you're talking about stroke and STEMI patients, which is a cardiac event, time is muscle, time is brain. And so the sooner we can move some of that information to the hospital, the better it is. We have had crews that have gone directly from the streets to the cath lab with patients, have bypassed the ER from things that we've seen and diagnoses we have made in the field. We still have a continual lifeline or a radio communications with the ER, but we also are moving technology where we're transmitting 12 lead EKGs to the ER, and then with those decisions, then it depends upon where the patient may end up. That technology is way beyond where it was 10 to 15 years ago. We have had a couple failures with the current cardiac monitors. They haven't been critical failures because of our system design and how we have backup equipment, and so they've not affected patient care, but we're trying to get them replaced before we do see a critical failure.
So grant writers or foundations or any involved individuals could certainly help out in this area. Then
That would be wonderful.
Cardiac monitors. What about a wish list for health department? Any plans to move from the 6th and Main location at this point?
Well, there's long been some discussion, even prior to this building being built, there was some discussion about remodeling that facility at 601 Main. I think there's some options as to what we can do with that agency. There was some discussion about putting them in part of this basement, but they won't fit. They just won't fit. So that option has been taken off the table. And I think there's some discussion about some other options, and we're doing some investigation and trying to figure out what would be best for that facility. That's an older facility and has some parking lot issues and some infrastructure issues. So it's in a floodplain. And so those things are all taking into account of what we're going to do with that. There is some dollars that are set aside. We did sell the old EMS facility on the corner of Cody and General Hayes. So those dollars are set aside to help in that process, and hopefully we'll make a smart, wise decision what we're going to do with fiscally responsible decision what we're going to do with that agency.
A lot of options, ongoing situations and discussions.
I think we're evaluating them now.
I suppose former Director Butch Schleier's on speed dial now?
Oh, very much so. Very much so.
Well, I'm sure Bush probably didn't want to step away from it too quickly, I would imagine. I suppose he'd probably keep in touch.
You know, he's been in a couple times, I think. I've seen him in once. He provided a great service to the community for a number of years, and he's a valuable resource to us.
Couple of minutes left, Kerry. Talk about the current health department issues. I would imagine flu season would be one, ongoing vaccinations for children and adults as well. What about drug situation? We're seeing an uptick in opioid involvement, drug usage, meth, those types of things.
Well, the main programs at the health department, you know, the WIC program is a big program at the health department where
women
and infants and children. And the basis of that program is education, nutrition, and education about nutrition and breastfeeding, financial aid to those people that qualify, and it's from pregnancy on through 5 years.
Good.
That's a big program.
Yeah. Still ongoing. Then.
Still ongoing.
Good.
And the Ellis County Health Department does that really well. They've been known for several years and doing a good job of that. And those ladies over there do a great job with that. As you said, vaccinations are big things. Flu shots, we just went through the whole fall. This last fall we did several flu shot clinics. We do blood pressure clinics. We do a lot of allergy shots in the morning before school. Matter of fact, I should also mention, we just changed our hours to noon to 1, being closed for lunch. We tried to go from 1 to 2. It really messed with our WIC program and the dietitian that comes in for that program. And then also, we had some clients that were asking us to change back, and we didn't see a marked increase in numbers of folks coming from noon to 1. So we went back from that to closed at noon to 1 versus 1 to 2. You know, a lot of the folks that I'm running into, I've met in the previous years, and I'm talking about within the community from my role here in EMS, regionally and at the state level, from Homeland Security meetings and things like that. So I've made those contacts before. We're getting a lot of contacts right now from our partners in the community that want to strengthen that partnership, because it really is about the relationships and how we can strengthen those partnerships in the community on both sides with the EMS and with the health department. My bosses have asked me to look at ways that I can increase the number of grant dollars that come into that department, into the health department. You know, there's a couple grants that are administered by Kansas Department of Health and Environment that we're looking at, and we're going to take a good hard look at each one of those grant programs or the programs that are being proposed by other agencies, and kind of do a cost benefit analysis on them. You know, what benefit are we going to get? Do we have people enough to do them? And kind of build the relationship there with those partners and move from there. To answer directly your question about the opioids, you know, we don't see that much at the health department. We see that more on the EMS side and the results of those overdoses and things like that. So there was a big article in the paper last night. We are seeing some of those cases on the EMS side. There's been a big push statewide and nationwide to put a Narcan, which is a drug that counteracts those, in the hands of law enforcement that would be administered prior to our arrival. So that is a move towards helping treat those patients, and we do carry that drug ourselves. So they're getting good care. We would hope that they would not get to that point, but as the article said last night, there is an increase in usage of those drugs.
Well, Kerry,
sadly,
on behalf of the citizens of Hays who see regular visits to the health department, the EMS staff out and about through the community and the county on a regular basis, we just want to say thank you very much to you and your staff and all of the people who work at EMS and the health department for the great job that's being done in the county, and we as citizens really appreciate the efforts and dedicated staff that you have.
Well, thank you, and I'll pass that along because you're absolutely right. I have a great staff. They take good care of patients in both departments, and they do exactly what they're supposed to do, and I try and get them the things they need and get out of their way. So.
The Ellis County Health Services Director, Kerry McCue, our Community Connection.
Angels Care Home Health, serving Hays and the surrounding areas, is a Medicare-certified home health agency providing quality skilled nursing and restorative therapy services to patients in their homes.
My Angel Care physical therapist taught me how to do exercises safely.
Angels Care is there to help 24 hours a day, and all services are covered 100% by Medicare for patients who are eligible.
It gives us independence in our home.
Angels Care Home Health. We serve patients.